I've been rewatching Ancient Aliens again because I have an obsessive need to just rewatch things I've watched before.
Right, yeah, naturally.
Yeah, and I was watching this one episode where this dude asked the author of the book Chariots of the Gods, which is what kind of started the whole Ancient Aliens theory thing,
Hmm.
and he asked him what he was wrong about in his book, which was written like 60, 50 years ago, probably 50 years ago. And he gives the most non-answer ever. And I just wonder whether people like accepted it, like in the audience accepted it, or like thought to themselves like he didn't answer the fucking question. Because
Why? What did he say?
because okay, so he's asked, "What were you wrong about?" And he goes on
Oh,
this like tirade about how like when he was young, he wanted like he had all these theories that didn't pan out, and that he'd be really mad if people thought that he wanted to start a new religion. And that like as he got older, he realized some things weren't as he thought they were.
okay.
And then he says, but this is all of the scientists' fault because they won't ask the questions, and you have to keep asking questions in order to find out the truth." And then he says, "Thank you for your question."
What? What
So
the
yeah,
fuck?
because the moment he like actually tries to answer it, that just opens him up to like everything else that he's actually wrong about. So he
Right,
can't ever
yeah.
give up.
Oh,
But like, I just want them to see. So I like the ancient astronaut theory just because it's just so bizarre and it's fun to just like think about in like a fictional sense. Like just make stories up and just have fun with it. But
uh-huh.
some of these people actually believe it, and I want them to realize that this guy's a fucking idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He like just he didn't answer your question because he like is wrong about everything.
Yeah. But like, I think that's largely the way it works. A lot of that
Yeah.
stuff is you just sort of keep going until your answer is so convoluted that nobody can fight it because they don't even know where to start.
I'll start with answer the fucking question. But
But
then
they would
yeah,
argue that they did, and then
yeah.
you would have they would force you to,
Yeah, they put
find
the
a way
onus
to
on you,
yeah.
which is always what happens with these scenarios. But yeah, well, the main reason I bring Ancient Aliens up is because it does like tickle my brain and like spark my curiosity,
Hmm.
much like Izoken does, where much of the show is about the main girl. I don't recall her name, but the shortest one, who's got like this just brimming imagination, and she's trying
Hmm.
to get people to help her out to make this anime, which is the story of the show is this short girl befriends this model girl along with her tall friend, and they all
Or
decide that they're gonna make
giraffe
an anime.
friend.
Yeah, the giraffe. And they all try to decide to make an anime, aka Ed and Eddie make an anime, the show.
Pretty much, yeah.
I absolutely love all these characters. They're just so much fun.
They are, for a show that's going to be based entirely on these three characters, they're very well done. Because it's an interesting combination of like personality types that they can carry a show.
Right, they're different enough where there's going to be a lot of conflict among each other.
Hmm.
Not like drama, but like we saw this in episode 3, and we see it more in episode 4, which I won't try to get into too much. Where they're starting to make their first anime, like a 5 minute little short, and you've got one of the characters who like wants to have these expansive landscapes of the shortest girl, and then you've got the model who wants to basically animate like Bruce Lee fighting and just
Yeah,
basically
really intensive character work.
it
Yeah.
does character work, line work, basically all done by hand.
Hmm.
And then you've got Giraffe basically reeling, trying to reel him back in into something more, doable in 3 months
Yeah.
for two people.
Yeah. Because they basically have two creatives and then tall giraffe to
The
be
project
like
manager.
the business project manager side of things of, okay, look, I understand you have all these ideas. This is what we can afford to do.
And this is what we can do given the time.
Yeah.
Basically, it's about like they basically represent their parts of like an animation studio where you've got the creative concept side, the actual
Hmm.
doing of the animation, and then you've got the project manager, and they all do it really well. And that's why
Yeah.
they form the trio, the team,
Hmm.
the tri M. I don't know the fem word. Never mind. I was trying to do a thing.
It failed miserably.
It did.
But yeah, they create an interesting dynamic, the three of them, in that you have, because the episode is very much broken up between like whatever sort of topic that they're covering in the show, and then also the more like imaginary animated sequences.
Yeah, the whimsical sequences.
Hmm. And even there, their like personalities still sort of tie into it, where you have the girl who dreams up, the short girl with the camo hat who dreams it all up. You have the model who sort of more or less makes it run
Yeah, it goes
and
along
gives
with
it
it.
and fleshes out some of the details.
Yeah,
And then you have the lanky giraffe who is the one who makes it work.
tries
in a
to
lot
make
of
it
the
work and tries to like keep them in line and basically
Yeah, it
bail
brings
them
in a
out.
sense of realism.
Much
Yeah.
like in I believe it was the third episode, they're fixing up the roof,
Hmm.
and the shortest girl imagines that she's fixing up this the hull of a ship, and then they get stuck outside because the ladder falls down. Um, so they're calling out to the giraffe to go help them out, and it becomes this whole like sequence where the giraffe is going through the ship trying to like find them and get them back to safety. And it's always just really fun to watch. And then she fucking charges through the steel wall.
Yeah, blast through the steel wall because their clubhouse is made out of fucking rusty steel.
Yeah, she probably got fucking she needs
Tetanus,
some tetanus.
yes.
Yeah, tetanus shots.
Yeah, she needs all of the tetanus shots, in fact.
Um, but that's basically the story of the show is these three characters trying to make their dream come true, and
Yeah.
they just want to make an anime. And mostly it's the giraffe, the tall girl being strung along by the two others. But out of the three of them, I do like her the most because it does like she represents a part that isn't always very looked on very nicely. Because you've got the two creatives who are like creating all these like cool things, and you've got her trying to reel it back and saying no a lot. But oftentimes you need that person, and this show really shows off why you need her or them.
Hmm. And it creates an interesting component of showing you why you need all three of the sides.
Yeah.
In terms of you have her to say like no to the things that are absolutely undoable. There are only three of them. They only have so much time and so much budget. Some things are just unfeasible or infeasible,
Mhm.
and she will stop them from going in places where they can't afford to go or don't have the time to go. And you have the creative girl in the camo hat who knows a lot about the sort of like mechanics of this thing.
Yeah,
And
she's
so
very
she's-
technical.
Yeah. And so she doesn't just talk about like the landscapes and all of the fabulous things that they can do, but she also talks about like the way you can depict things, the way they could depict wind to show the turbine spinning.
The way you
during
can
that one
save
episode.
time by having these little tricks that they used to do beforehand.
Yeah. And then you have the model girl who comes in with sort of the focus on like we need to depict a character doing something. How can we show
Right.
detail in certain ways? We create characters and focus on the movement and try and get a sense of realism for their like how they move to sort of lend a credence to the show that they're making to make people believe like this is something that I can connect with. I can see this really happening.
Right, and she also brings that feeling of like there's only so far you can go with cost saving because you can't give up the authenticity.
Mhm.
Overall, yeah,
So
fucking awesome.
it's really good. I want to ask you the question:
I
what genre would you put this in?
I don't know, slice of life.
Why? Why slice of life?
I would say it's slice of life because this could be like a trio of like creative little kids just in high school trying to do their own thing, like little filmmakers trying to make some music or in a band, and that this could basically be like their story. Like you've got the whimsical parts, and that's why I feel like it makes it a better slice of life, just because you have these more interesting visuals than just them kind of sitting around drawing or whatever.
Uh huh.
But like it's just kind of a slice of their life. Like it's really just them kind of being high school kids trying to do something cool,
All right,
right?
I can understand that. I'm going to say I see it more of almost like an adventure sort of show
Yeah,
in terms of them like pursuing the goal and trying to like, and you have like the adventure sequences of their dreams and all that
right.
sort of
Just
tied
because they
together.
don't actually go there doesn't mean it's not an adventure.
Yeah. So I see it as more of an adventure show, but I could also that's why I asked you the question of what genre would you put it in? Because in my mind it was I could see it as slice of life and I could see it as adventure. And like I don't know if there's an agreed upon like amalgam of the two things. And like I was trying to think of in terms of shows that we've watched before, is there anything else that even that got like close to that amalgam of adventure and slice of life? And I was thinking like, was it Death March? But I think Death March had too much like actiony shit actiony garbage
Fantasy
in it.
stuff too
Yeah,
mixed in.
it's like I don't know if I've ever really watched a proper combo of adventure and slice of life, but I think this is a pretty good shout at being what a combination of those two genres would be like.
There's another show that it would be similar. I haven't watched it, but it's Kino's Journey, which is about a girl who rides a motorcycle and meets people. It's very similar to Somali in that sense, where each
Okay.
episode is her meeting someone new and then
Hmm.
dealing with whatever, the town is having an issue or the person she meets is having an issue or she has an issue and someone goes to help her out.
All right.
So yeah, slice of life adventure. Yeah, I guess both of them make sense. Comedy in there,
Yeah.
little bits of drama, but the drama isn't really like character drama. It's more like we've got 2 days left to finish this. What the fuck are we gonna do?
Yeah. Um, the other thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit, I don't know if you've seen episode 4. I haven't yet, so I don't know if this is brought up in episode 4,
Okay,
but the rich girl's like side gig
of
of
being a
being
model.
a model. It's sort of just something that feels layered on top of her. Like I don't understand why it's a part of her character, and it feels a little bit out of place at the moment. At
I,
least 3 episodes in, it
right.
does.
I think they're gonna do something with it because they're starting to like. I think in episode 3, you do get the scene where the two girls go over to say hi to her, right?
Yeah.
And you get another scene similar in this one. It's just like
Okay.
a quick shot, but they're trying to keep you. They're trying to remind you that this is still a thing, so
Uh,
it might pay off later. It
it
could
just
all.
seems very weird because like it feels like it's very forced. Like the scenes on the train were very like in your face about it in terms of like this girl's a model,
Because literally
remember? Like
every
don't
single
forget
fucking
this.
ad is her.
Yeah. And like it's her sitting on the train with the ad right behind her, so you can definitely see the two people and be like, "Oh yeah, that's that model
Yeah.
girl." Like it's
Well,
very in your
actually,
face
they look
about
at their
it.
phone.
The two girls look at their phone and see it, but we, the audience,
Yeah.
also see the shot of her next to her poster,
Oh,
and we see the shot of
didn't
like the
notice that.
three like ad bars that are
Yeah.
all her. It's very in your face about it, and I don't like it.
Okay.
It just doesn't like it doesn't feel like a part of her character in any way is the thing.
Aside from the first episode where she's running away from her dad's goons, it doesn't
Yeah.
really ever come up unless like she's talking about how rich she is.
Well, even then, I just took that as like she's rich
Yeah.
because her parents are rich, and so like that's just like a rich girl thing, and that could be the end of it. But they also have this model thing, which just doesn't feel used at the moment.
It definitely isn't used, and I do wonder if they're going to use it at some point. I feel like they are
Yeah,
because they're trying to remind. They're being very handed about making you remember. Uh,
I just don't know if I'm gonna do the way they will use this fact about her life that she's a model is not going to decide whether or not I like the show, but it's very clearly supposed to have some weight. That's why they keep
yeah,
reminding us of that fact, so we never forget it. So that when it comes up, it'll be something that like it doesn't get thrown on us all of a sudden. We can see it coming, and we connect with the characters and understand what they're going through. It just feels like if they don't
do something
pull it
soon.
off
Oh,
right,
okay.
like not do something soon, but like if they don't do something with that fact about her life that ties into the struggles of the characters and her as a character herself, because like right now the model gig feels very much like a side hustle that we don't care about. It's not a part of her character.
Yeah,
We see her as the artist, and we see her as like the popular figure in terms of like the girls come up to say hi and she switches into popular mode. Like we see that and we understand it. We don't see the model side of her character at all. And we even see like the rich girl side with her running away from the dad's goons and not being allowed to join the anime club and stuff like that. Like
just
we
bring
get,
a 3 million yen sofa to the club room.
yeah, the fact that they were talking about New Year's money and she was like, yeah, I got 100,000 grand. It just doesn't like the model thing doesn't feel like a part of her character yet, and so the way they employ it as a plot device, I want it to make sense of their character, and I want it to be like something that feels right to the character.
Hmm.
And I just don't know if the way they're going about it right now, unless things change and they start to like sort of build up into it over time, it's going to feel like something that just all of a sudden is going to get thrust on us. Like at some point, somebody's gonna be like model thing, and it's just gonna sort of we'll know it's coming
It'll
because they keep
dangle.
reminding
It'll feel
us.
like it dangles.
Yeah, it'll just feel out of place with the show.
Okay.
Where in terms of like it was all about the film club, it was all about the film club, and then all of a sudden one episode will just be like model thing out of nowhere.
They
Not out of nowhere because we'll see it coming because they keep bringing it up.
they
But
they might add drama about how she has to do the modeling thing.
yeah, maybe she doesn't. She has to split her time between the film thing and the model thing.
Maybe.
Maybe
I'm not sure.
we'll see.
Something that's more light. Did you notice that the student faculty office is a pool?
Is it really?
Yes, it
I did
is.
not.
It is a drained pool.
Does it have like the depth markers on the wall or something?
I don't know if I noticed that, but it's like just the blue walls and the blue floor, and there's like you can see ladders going down into the pool,
Ah, okay.
and I just thought that was funny. They're just in a
That's.
pool.
I mean, it kind of ties into like this whole the show's aesthetic
Yeah,
of
it's
this
just
world of like
wonky and
weird.
things are just like it's very like a sprawling or like an urban sprawling up.
Mhm.
It,
And like space is sort of utilized in awkward ways, like the air conditioner that was in the doorway for no reason.
oh my god, was what I must
The
have forgotten
first
that.
episode where
Okay.
the very first episode, they go to like a laundry
Oh,
mat, and the air conditioner was like the top half of a doorway was an air conditioner, and they had to like duck under it.
oh, okay, that's what it was. Okay.
Yeah, and like there's no reason why it needed to be there. They could have just like when they're putting in the air conditioner, they could like cut a hole in the wall or put it above the door or like anywhere else. But for whatever reason, it was smack dab in the middle of the door, and you had to duck under it. So like it's very in keeping with this show's aesthetic of like repurposing and just using all of the space for all sorts of like weird things to have the faculty office as a drained pool. Why
Yeah.
not?
How do you like the whimsical moments, the moments of whimsy?
Um, how do I like them? I kind of enjoy it. There's like a weirdness to the show. It's very like Willy Wonka-esque in terms of I'm thinking of
Oompa
the
Loompas?
Gene Wilder Willy
Oh,
Wonka of like there's something in like the way that the characters see the world that reminds me of Gene Wilder's depiction of Willy Wonka as he like trapezed around fucking Wonka's chocolate factory. Of like they just love the worlds that they create in their head.
you do definitely feel that just like intense love of it.
Yeah.
They're just they like put all of themselves into their world.
hmm And
It,
like it's a combination of things that couldn't exist, like the Dragonfly ship.
yeah,
There's no reason why that ship would ever exist. And yet they've thought it up and they created it. And like it's very like the Willy Wonka's chocolate factory shit, where like the everlasting gobstopper, which looked wonky as fuck. But like in the context of the show, you were just willing to believe that like, yeah, this is a piece of candy. This weird, awkwardly shaped everlasting gobstopper is a real thing in this world.
it fucking looks like Jujubee is like just stuck on a jawbreaker.
It was basically. It was a jawbreaker that had like fucking a disease, basically. Yeah. But yeah, the show is like very. It creates these worlds and these things that just sort of don't make sense and sort of shouldn't exist and are really weird, but
And then you buy into it.
you buy into it because the characters actually interact with them. It's not just them imagining these things, it's them actually interacting with them and doing things and,
And
like
then
seeing the
fixing it.
results. Uh huh.
Because like first they come up with a concept and then they realize, oh, that won't work because of this thing. It's kind of like the drawing battles that you can like have, or back when we were like, I guess I don't know if you did this, but back when I was in school, we just start drawing and then someone would draw something else that would beat your thing and then kind of be this battle. It kind of
Uh-huh.
felt like that, just verbally, and then it starts to like flesh out their contraption. Like in the second episode where they make the little like hoop skirt thing that like flies.
Yeah.
But if it's rotating, then you'll get rotated too. So you add like a counter rotate thing to make it
Uh-huh.
work and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's very nostalgic too.
It is.
So the whimsy parts.
It is. Um, Parts of it are sort of weird. Like the Dragonfly ship is a bizarrely interesting creation, and yet the more I look at it, the more in my head I'm like, why the fuck does it have a tail?
That's a
Like the
dragonfly.
tail is the. I understand that it's supposed to be shaped like a dragonfly, but the tail does nothing. It actually detracts from the existence of the ship. Also, if it turned sideways, it would fall out of the sky. It doesn't have rigid wings, so it can't go into that like sideways
Yeah.
flight and actually produce lift in any way. It would just straight up fall out of the sky if it went
You
sideways.
know, it float for a little
Um,
bit.
kind of,
Actually, no, it just started going down immediately.
pretty much. Um, but yeah, like there are some things that are weird. The tank that shot fucking atomic bombs, apparently. Yeah,
I love that tank.
some things were bizarre about it.
I love that the tank like shoots shells so big that it knocks it back, but the ejection of the shell moves it back forward.
Yeah, I don't know if you ever watched it, but the A-Team film from I think it was like 2012 or 2011 with Liam Neeson and Matthew McConaughey and uh, fuck, who played Mr. T in that film? I don't remember. I think it
Ice
was
Cube.
some
I don't know.
no, it was some MMA fighter, but I don't remember who. But anyways, yeah, it was an A-Team film, and one of the scenes they're in a C-130 that gets blown up, and so to avoid dying in the explosion, they all get into a tank, and so they're falling out of the sky in this tank, and it's falling like towards a lake, and so they have them shoot sideways to propel themselves sideways through the air, and then they shoot straight down so that the backwards force will slow them down enough to not die when they hit the water. And so it's one of those sequences of like logically it makes no sense, and yet when you're watching it, you're like, this is dumb and fun, so I'm just
Yeah.
going to accept it. And like, it was the same thing watching this of like, it's a tank that shoots A bombs, and it's so strong it basically rolls itself over, but then ejects the shell and rolls itself back. Is stupid as an invention, and yet you kind of look at it and you're like, it just sort of goes with the whimsy of the show. Their stupid like one man tank that shoots atomic bombs. Why not? Fuck it. Who cares? They're having
Exactly.
fun. The girl like and it ends with a girl with a machete is fighting a tank. Ignoring the fact that like yeah, she's going so fast that, you know, with the zip line thing that the tank can't hit her. What is she gonna do when she actually finds the tank? It's a machete. It's made out of steel. It's not gonna go through the tank.
So that the story of their the girl with machete animation is actually one of the premises for the Princess of Mars by the man who wrote Tarzan. Is that a guy from the 1960s gets transported to Mars, and everyone is a punk ass bitch. Because Mars has lower gravity, he can just beat the shit out of everyone. Just because he's so much stronger.
Okay. That's not how gravity works either.
I mean, that's how
I
we
mean,
thought it worked.
I didn't know how to bring that up as a concept, but yeah, being on lower gravity doesn't make you faster. It makes you be able to jump higher, yeah, but you also go down slower, so overall you sort of even out in the end. Yeah, it's certainly an interesting show.
It is. It's very much fun, and I do like it. I hope to
Yeah.
continue liking it, but I don't really see it like becoming bad, or me like finding something that I really don't like about it.
Hmm.
But things can always surprise you in bad ways.
Yeah.
I just hope this isn't one of those shows.
I don't want it to become like boring or stale. It could. I don't think it will, but it might. It's a possibility.
Um, I guess for a quick rundown, not a rundown, but this show is currently directed by by the man who directed Devilman Crybaby, as well as Ping Pong the Animation and Tatami Galaxy.
People really like Ping Pong, the anime.
I loved it so much.
Never watched it.
And it's okay. It's I should have really remembered the guy's name and or written down. I'll remember it for next episode.
Okay.
Up next, what would you like to talk about next, Nick? Somali or Hanako? I don't actually know which came first, so I
Neither
don't
do
know.
I.
Okay, well,
Hanako?
alphabetically, yeah, Hanako,
Okay.
um,
Totally
aka
Ghost.
Toilet Bound Hanako. There's no
Yeah.
thing in the there's no honorific in the title. But yeah,
Oh, really?
yes, it's just Toilet Bound Hanako. I'm pretty sure. At least
Oh,
that's what it says in Hulu.
interesting. I did not know
Let's
that.
actually check.
In my
Oh,
head,
it
I
is
just think of it
Hanako-kun.
as.
It is
Oh,
Hanako-kun.
okay.
Damn it.
I was gonna say that makes sense with how she refers to him.
Yes.
In my head, I just think of it as Toilet Ghost.
Toilet Ghost. Toilet Ghost is the story of the titular toilet-bound Hana-kun, who is one of the roomers in this school, where our main character, the girl, her name is Nene, right? Nene.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
I forget what Hanako calls her, but Nene shows up because she wants Hanako to grant her a wish, and that wish is for her to for
Fall in love with her crush.
someone else to fall in love with her.
Yeah,
It's not
that's
for
what it is.
yeah.
It's more general.
It's more that's she wants someone to fall in love with her, and he's like, okay, here's a book on how to do it.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah, the entire story is about her helping Hanako out after the events of the first episode. In the second episode, we get to meet some more characters. We get to meet Nene's best friend, Aoi,
Aomi.
Aoi, Aoi.
Oh, is it just AOI?
Yeah, Aoi.
Okay.
As well as the blonde-haired boy who ends up liking Nene.
Yep.
And in the third episode, we start off with like the next like the first proper arc of the show, which is like one of the big rumors, one of the big seven of the school, which is the Misaki Stairs.
Yeah.
Overall, I actually really like this show. It's just really funny. It's interesting.
Yeah.
It's cute.
It's got a very like uh it's got a very interesting art style.
It does. It's very. It pops out at me.
It does.
They've also got a very interesting editing style because there's multiple points where they won't like cut to the face of a character. Instead, they'll fade out the background and then just it's a small square of the character's face or the character doing something for a little bit. Or when they're cutting to a new location, they'll have like kind of like an ellipsis where they'll show you part of the frame and then the next part and then the rest of the actual shot.
Yep.
And it's just really interesting. It kind of gives the show a cool little flow to it.
And they also do a couple scenes where like if they don't do the little square cut-ins, they'll show you like a background of something and then like the two floating heads where like they'll just sort of make motion when they are talking. Their lips won't move, but like the head shakes.
Yeah.
And like it sort of conveys emotion somehow. Like the head will quiver, or the head will like move up and down really fast.
It feels like they're doing a lot with little money because there's not actually like a lot of movement. Did you?
It really
notice?
isn't.
Like
Yeah.
in the fight scene was basically 2 frames where there's a fight scene in the first episode against this mermaid lady who curses Nene, and Hanako brings out this basically, I guess it's a fish knife. I'm not sure. It's a tape knife.
Yeah.
But he just slashes the mermaid, and that's really it. It's like 2 seconds long,
Yeah.
and it's
All
you
the
really
fight scenes
get.
have been
Yeah,
really short.
because most of it
Other
is just
than
them talking.
other than the definitely not Sun Wukong fight with the kid with the staff,
Oh, I guess he's some Kong.
which is a slightly longer than the other ones that I can think of fight scene, but even that has to like save money or to add to the style of the show has a cut in or two cut ins in fact of Hanako just sort of like ineffectively slashing over the kid's head and then stabbing at him, and it's just sort of like 3 or 4 frames that get repeated a couple times in those little like cut in boxes. So like all of the fight scenes in the show have been really brief in terms of like what they show and how many frames they use.
To be fair, like the fight scenes aren't the important part, but just the way they utilize. I assume it's a very low. It's not like as big of a budget as they could have had, but they're utilizing it well.
Yeah,
Because like it's. Just,
I mean, it could also just be the style, like the
It
art
could, yeah.
style of the source material. I'm having a trouble putting like a name to it. The only thing I can think of in my head, it reminds me of like Tim Burton stuff, of like weird and sort of gothic and just very out there style. It's very reminiscent of like Tim Burton, Nightmare Before Halloween and Edward Scissorhands and shit.
For the tone of the show, it's very colorful.
It is, yeah.
But I guess Tim Burton stuff is more well. I guess it
Tim
is
Burton stuff is
colorful.
generally more like morose
Yeah, like
in terms of
darker,
color
like,
scheme.
a lot of like
There is
black and white.
some, yeah, there's some that are a little bit more colorful. Nightmare Before Halloween has a few really colorful moments. I think Fish has some really colorful moments in it. But like largely he sort of relies on like black and white with like a specific splash of color.
Right, like I think he did Frankenweenie, and that was like, mostly like very green, if I remember right.
Mhm. Although he did what was the movie? Corpse Bride. Corpse Bride was really black, white, and blue, until they went to the underworld, where it was super colorful.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the underworld was really colorful, and they're in the underworld for a little while. It's a really colorful place, and then they go back to the real world where it's black, white, and blue again.
Yeah. Um,
So Tim Burton really likes like dead stuff,
yeah.
but it's very similar to that of like it has a certain style of like gothicness and the skull brooch
Yeah, the
and the
skull brooch.
weirdness to it, and like it's all creepy.
But it's also just really bright and fun.
Yeah, and I don't know what like how to call it, and like the style of it or some of the scenes we get are very like old timey with like it's got like weird like black and
Yeah, so,
framing
like
and like
some of the flashbacks kind of have
yeah.
that grain to have the film grain.
Hmm. Or like some of them will be done in like a paper craft sort of style of like when they're talking about like the history of the stairs thing and you see like people going up the stairs and like scratches sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a very like it adds it uses different styles for different moments of like it has a flashback style and it has like a facing
Like
off with the scary thing style
and
and
like
stuff like
a
that.
talking about one of the rumors style.
Uh-huh. And like a serious Hanako style versus the less serious Hanako style versus the cut-in style.
I don't. While we're talking about Hanako, I don't like that his like pupils are always pointed up. It just fucks my head. He always has that like fucking smug face. His smug aura mocks me, Nick.
I don't like this painting, Charlie. He always looks like he's sort of looking from a low angle up at you. Yeah.
It always like looks like he did something wrong. He's like, "Whoopsies, did I do that?"
Did I do that? Yeah. It's definitely portraying Hanako as like, yeah, he's a fun person, but he's got secrets. He's dark and edgy
Yeah, I could
in
do
murdery
with,
ways.
I could do less with all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
Mostly because like I just do like the fun part of him.
Yeah.
Uh,
We're definitely gonna get to like probably somewhere in like
I'm
episode
pretty sure
8 to 10.
he killed the Masaki girl, the Masaki teacher.
You think so?
I think they're trying to. I think it's a red herring. The
I
more
think it
about
is
I think
too.
it's a red herring. Um,
They're
but they are trying to
just
push
because
a little bit.
yeah, they are. Definitely ugh. The reason I don't think he killed the teacher lady, the Misaki teacher, is based on the flashbacks of her that we've seen. Their like timelines don't match up.
Yeah, she's a bit older,
I think so.
right? He seems to be
And
more
like all of her kids are wearing like
oh,
longer, more traditional stuff.
okay.
I think of it as a very like Kenshin, like everyone wore those like long fucking whatever the fuck they're called, hikamas, I think. Like the long, basically like one piece things.
Yeah, not that I know about anything about Japanese culture or their history.
Yeah.
I would say like pre 1940s, and then Hanako's like post 1940s.
Yeah.
Because like I'm using Demon Slayer, which I think
Exactly. I was
is
gonna say
1900s,
it's the Demon Slayer thing,
right?
Yeah.
But Hanako like is wearing that like almost Hugo Boss uniform,
Yeah.
which I
Well,
would
definitely. I think of it as post-war, pre like 1970s.
yeah pre like Japanese blue economy boom.
Yeah. It's very like 50s, 60s, maybe 70s, maybe like early 70s sort of thing is where I picture it. Just because like anytime I've ever seen it in an anime, it's always been like some old person reminiscing about their childhood.
Right, especially with the fucking hat.
The hat. It's the hat
the
thing.
fucking hat.
It's the absolute hat. Only really old people. They're like, when I was in high school, you see the cutback and they're wearing the hats. You're like, okay, boomer.
How do you feel about Nene? Our actual, or I guess she's our actual main character. She is the person we follow as we're going into this world of crazy ghost and yokai shit.
Mm-hmm. I kind of like her as the main character.
I did too, actually. She's kind of fun.
She has, yeah. She's a weird amalgam of like characteristics, but for like first year in high school girl, it sort of works. She wants to be, appreciated by boys, but she's self-conscious about some stuff, and she wants to, like help Hanako and have friends, but it's scary and weird because it's ghosts and they want to sometimes kill her, which is scary and weird. She's an interesting combination of characters, but I like her.
And then we've got our last character. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
understands like the things she can do in terms of like saving the ghosts. Because like we have episode 2 where she has to deal with the bunnies and fixing
Yeah.
the rumors about them. But we also have uh the versus the mermaid fight and then versus the floating pair of scissors fight where like she can't really do anything and Hanako has to like show up and save the day with his fucking
A
you
fucking
know
sword, a little knife of truth or
yeah
whatever.
whatever the fuck that's gonna
Not
be
a
his murder
stab.
weapon of choice. But yeah, like they're interesting together. I wouldn't quite say she's like full on like damsel in distress character type yet.
Yet.
Yet we'll see.
I hope it doesn't
But
get to that because she is pretty fun.
yeah, I hope it doesn't get to that. But like the only thing is, she is the only one of the three of them who doesn't have like
A
a way to
weapon.
fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, she
so I
can. She's
definitely
a
could
mermaid. She
see
can do
it.
like magic things, maybe.
Yeah,
Aside from turning into a fish when she gets wet.
yeah, maybe we'll
It's
see if
not
she
a
has the
sex
mermaid
joke.
curse. Not a sex joke. Yeah, she gets a small amount of water on her skin. It's worse than the Japanese flu.
And then we've
Yeah.
got Natsun Wukong, who like it
Mhm.
just kind of showed up for a little bit. He's like he's the loudmouth rival.
Yes, he's very much also orange-haired kid from
He is the
Fruits
Naruto.
Basket.
He's the Naruto, or he's the oh my god, what's Kyo
I think. Yeah, I
to
think that's right.
Hanako's Sasuke and fuck. I love the show.
Fuck.
Oh my god, Mouse guy. I'm just gonna call him
Yeah,
Mouse
Rat.
guy. Rat guy,
Fuck,
right?
what the fuck was his name?
They say it
Was
so
it?
often.
They do. I want to say it's Yuki.
I'm gonna go Yuki because his hair's white and it's something about snow. Boom, Yuki. His
Yeah.
name's Yuki.
I want to say it's correct.
Um, yeah, you've always got that like kind of that the dichotomy, the cooler head character versus the fucking annoying ass little motherfucker. Is the way
Yeah.
I could put it.
But unlike Yuki, Hanako is willing to sort of
He's got a very
get
fun,
stuck in.
funny side, yeah.
Yeah. But it's an interesting show in that it focuses on the rumors of different
Right.
things surrounding the
That's
school.
something else I want to talk about is the way, I guess that like the villains are, or the premise of how the ghosts work is that they're affected by the rumors you spread about them. So if
Mhm.
you start to make it darker, then the ghosts kind of get worse. Or if you make them
Mhm.
lighter and happier, that ghost can be like actually pleasant. And
Yeah.
that's the main case with the Yosei-san, which is like this weird fucking ghoul that like will steal shit, which is what these little bunnies started out as. The moke started out as like they'll steal from some stuff, but because people started saying, oh, it'll kill you if you find it, they kind of coalesced into this creature that looks menacing.
Yeah.
And
It
then
had a whole bunch of eyes, and if you looked at it, you
Yeah.
looked into its eyes, it would kill you.
Yep. And then Hanako fixes, or not Hanako, but Nene fixes it, and they become little bunnies again, little cute little bunnies
Yeah.
that show up throughout the rest of the show.
Yeah. And they offer you candy,
Oh,
and they
candy.
take candy from you.
Those things are just so fucking cute.
They are adorable. But yeah, it's an interesting show in that it relies on the rumors and it not plays into it. It uses that and sort of allows us to be a part of its world with the like episode previews, which I really like the style
Yes, because it's
with the
done
girl
in
telling
universe,
us-
basically.
of. Because we have a more or less radio host of the school, I assume, telling us the story or the rumor of what's going to be in the next episode
Yeah.
over like some sort of it really does feel like we're sitting in front of a radio listening to this as she tells us the rumor of something in this school.
It reminds me of. I think you've played enough Catherine to see this, but the afro-haired lady like talks about what's going on in the game whenever you start
Uh-huh.
it.
Yeah.
It feels like that. And
Yeah,
it's
it
really,
does.
It's very fun.
It is. But
For the most part, yeah, that's Hanako bound, or the toilet bound Hanako-kun.
yeah,
Just a strange story about a ghost getting helped by this one girl who got cursed and turned into a fish.
yeah. And I guess for the season it works well that we're doing Toilet Ghost and Izoken together because we have now two shows of really weird, really quirky animation together.
Yes. Although I would argue that at least our next show, Somali, and the Forest Guardian,
Yes, Forest
They
Spirit.
all have interesting styles, while Somali the Forest Spirit doesn't have like new like ways of showing your characters. The
Mhm.
backgrounds look beautiful and just strange and cool, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
the world it
Yeah,
exists in is really awesome.
is different. And yeah, that's Somali-chan. Would you like to take it away, Nick? Or not Somali-chan, but whatever. Take it away.
Sure. So, Somali through the first three episodes has been a story of it is set up as the story of a golem who is a protector of the forest, and they are tasked with basically preserving the ecosystem and making sure things continue. And they live for a certain amount of time, and eventually they die, and a new golem is presumably made from the earth to take over their place.
Maybe.
And so our golem has found a ugh, human child in his forest one day, and he knows that basically he needs to get this human child back to her parents because it's not part of his ecosystem, so he has to fix it. And so he sets off on his journey with his human child companion to reunite her with her family. And so from there on to the first three episodes, we basically just have their journey together as they look for humans that, could be her family so that she can have a place to live. Because as we find out in the second episode, this golem is only 1 year and 100 and some odd days until he dies
Yes.
or returns to the earth, as he says.
So I have a quick question. Was that actually like what he said his motivation was? Was that the child didn't belong, so he decided to find parents for it? I don't think
Uh,
that's
well, specifically, he understands like he's going to die soon, and so he has to get her back. He doesn't really explain why they set off together. Like he never really explains why
right, because that
he
part is kind of
started the
missing.
journey.
Because we see him like find the child, and then like we go to the opening, and then we cut straight to like basically the middle of the adventure where they've already gone like I don't know
Yeah,
how
some
far,
distance away from his forest.
but at this point like he's already been taking care of the child for a little bit.
Yeah, it's implied they've been to at least one other town together before,
Yeah,
and they've already established her disguise as a minotaur
little
child.
minotaur with little sewed on horns.
Yeah.
So I would at least
So,
argue that as of right now, we don't know what the Golem's like actual motivation is.
yeah, that's
Right.
fair. I sort of put his motivation into his mouth for him because it hasn't said yet. I assume the only reason, because he expressed that golems don't have emotions, and
Right.
so I assume it has to be some sort of logical reason. And the only logical reason I could understand for why it would give up, its job basically of protect the forest is it evaluated the human and was like, you don't belong here, so I have to bring you back to where you belong. And now it knows I only have a year and 100 days to do it, so I have to do this fast.
At least from what I've seen, the show is also kind of putting forward that he is developing emotions in some sense. So this could have
Hmm.
been like the initiation was finding her, and then him making a decision that didn't exactly fit with logic. Like he
It
wanted,
certainly could be, yeah.
yeah. I think that's what
Uh,
it's going to go towards.
oh yeah,
It could
I think so
also
too.
like start off as I have to, fix this issue where I have to get this child somewhere else because it's not part of my forest, and then he develops it later on.
Yeah.
I could see both sides happening,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, like I've said before, the backgrounds are just really beautiful. Like the entire world they're exploring is just
Hmm.
really cool. Even like a lot of the monsters and the characters, like they all look so different from each other. Like almost every single town they visit is just filled with different monsters, and
Yeah.
like in different ways. Each town has its own culture. It's just really cool.
Hmm. It's very well created in that like all of the characters look unique and yet,
Fit in.
identifiably like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
people who would be alive and could do things. And sort of like monster types that you understand. Like nothing looks super alien and like out there and bizarre. They all sort of look like, oh, this is, like something that makes sense.
Right. They rely on certain stereotypes just to, kind of keep it fees
Easy on the
keep it easy on
eyes.
the eyes. Like you can understand, like there's like a griffin or like a minotaur type person. There's like a lizard man. There's like a lizard lady and all that stuff. There's like
Yeah.
bunny people.
There's like a wolf dude and there was like a boar lady, I think, at one
There's a
point,
cat,
and uh-huh.
but with
We
like
had like the server who was made out of like mannequin arms.
oh right,
It's
right,
like
right.
yeah, her arms were bizarre. But I liked her. And her weird fucking
Right.
anteater tongue.
And we've got the oni, the little demons.
Uh
I think
so
in
like it's
sorry, go.
it's a like a compilation of like a lot of sort of creatures that we've seen from like other fantasy things and like classic ghost story type stuff with like the Onis. Like it's sort of all of them sort of amalgam together into this is the monster world, and seeing them all sort of exist together, you could sort of look at it and say like this makes sense. Like when we go to the ant hill or the ant colony town or whatever the fuck it was called.
It's ant holes, I want to say.
Okay, sure. That makes
Ant
sense.
holes.
That's as good as anything else. Um, like the two characters that we interact with a lot are basically like desert antelope type things.
Yeah.
So like they sort of fit in with their environment kind of. So it's an interesting way of like creating the world and really thinking about like how would a town in the desert look and what sort of monsters would live in a town in the desert and what would they look like and how would they work.
And,
I
and
like it.
on top of that, I feel like they're doing showing, not telling very well for the most
Hmm.
part. There's this one like point of like exposition where they talk about the human and monster war that happened like way ago, or actually not even way ago. Because one of the monsters talks about how he was like part of some raiding parties that ate a bunch of people,
Yeah.
little pockets. But yeah, he tells you the story about how that happened, where there was this one man who showed up to the monster world, and then he started like spark this, not colonization, but like this intermingling of the two races, and then the humans were kind of pieces of shit and thought like everyone else was disgusting, and so the monsters fucked them up and ate them
Yeah.
and killed them all, and then they ran
It
away.
was it was such a weird story because like it was basically a story of like yeah, these people showed up and they were super mean and super quick to anger. So then we got in a huge war and we killed them all
Yeah,
and ate them. Because that's like a normal, well-adjusted thing to do when you get into a war is you've picked a fight with me. So I'm not just going to burn your house down. I'm going to eat the flesh from your bones too.
they do say that
Complete
human is
genocide.
tasty though.
I mean, they did say that, but still,
But aside
if,
from
if
that,
we got if we got into a fight with a race of sentient cows, I wouldn't be like, yes, let's eat all of them in
I
retribution.
mean, but they're cows though.
I mean, but they're sentient though. I wouldn't want to like eat something that talked to me. This is the reason I won't eat people, Brendan,
I
because they
mean,
talk to me.
if I was given the choice, I think I've said this before, but if I was given the choice of like human lab grown or lab grown human
Lab-grown
meat,
people meat.
I would eat it. I would try to eat it.
You would try to
I
eat
would eat. I
lab-grown
would try
people meat.
it because I don't think there's an ethical issue there. But that's a whole other thing. That's a whole
I don't
other
know
thing.
if I would, only because I don't know what lab-grown people meat they would grow that would be okay to eat. In which I say like I don't know if I would want to eat like it's human bicep. I'd look at that and be like I don't know if this is gonna taste good.
That's a different topic for a different day. Um,
Yeah,
but back to the whole showing not telling.
I mean
Uh,
I might eat people brains if it doesn't give me
oh
fucking
god,
mad people
no,
disease.
fuck that. It's gonna be gelatinous and stuff. Whatever. Yeah, sorry. Back to the showing and not telling part.
uh
They show a lot of like Somalis uh, um, want wish for like physical connection, where she's
uh
like always looking at these parent um, child monster combinations where the parent's holding the child's hand or the child is like on top of the parent, right in their head, and you can actually just see that she's like very sad about this, and they don't like outright just tell you this like some other shows might do.
mhm.
They show that she's very curious. Basically, like they set up a lot of things in the first half of the episode, which pay off in the back half. Like in
Yeah,
our first episode, we have her chasing down butterflies, her want for physical connection, and in the back half, we have her running away because she sees this little cat and she wants to pet the cat and play with it. And the way this ends is that the golem's like, here, you have to hold my hand from now on so you don't fucking run away. And it all comes back, and it's just like this nice little circle. And it's a fun way. It's a good way to do storytelling.
it definitely is. It's interesting for this show because like all three of the episodes so far have had talking moments and then a significant portion, not like a huge portion, but a certainly significant amount of time of non-talking just sequences. And
Yeah,
they aren't always, you know, uh like nonsense, cut together, individual scenes.
just random montage. It's like
Yeah. a lot of
character
the
doing
times they
something.
do also sort of have like things going on that connect to each other. So like we see in the first episode as like they sort of walk through the market and Somali sees things and sees, like the parent-child combos that you were talking about before and gets distracted by the puppeteer
Oh
and
yeah.
they walk some more and the golem hunts her down and, like tugs her back into line and they keep walking together. Like it's a sequence that sort of goes on for like a minute or two. I don't remember how long exactly it is, but it goes on without really any talking and yet it still sort of like connects to the story. And we have the second episode with the Onis, where like it is sort of more of like a montage thing of her and the older Oni having like, fun doing the laundry together. And it's like a couple, static shots of that. And then later on, it's more like animated actual sequences.
Hmm.
So they've all had like a moment, of like a minute or two, maybe three, of no talking, just scenes from the world. And we can see Somali thinking something basically out loud without actually saying any words. Um, and it's an interesting way of doing storytelling of like it really forces you to pay attention to like how a character feels without words
Yeah,
and what they
basically
want
pay
without
attention
words.
to what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Yeah. And like it's all just emotion conveyed with like facial expressions and what she's looking at and what she's watching and doing and things like that. It's entirely conveyed through that, and yet it is conveyed very well, I think.
Yes.
Without being heavy-handed, I think it does it well.
Yeah.
Because like you could definitely lay it on super thick and really force feed like Somali feels bad. She wants her dad to pay more attention to her. You could really force feed that one. Like it's really easy to do and really easy to go overboard with it. I think they touched on just the right amount of she doesn't feel in the third episode like connected to the golem as much as she wants and
Right.
she feels upset about it. Like they did a good combination of like showing that she's not connected and at the end of it that like she genuinely is upset about this and like it's getting her down.
Yeah. Part of it is also that she is scared that he'll leave her as well.
Yeah, because
Um,
she starts to realize that their journey does have like an ending
it's going
and
to end. Yeah.
she doesn't know what's going to happen at the end.
It's going to be a story about what it is to lose a parent. Golem's gonna
So
die.
is it though? So this sort of gets into like unless there was
Right.
something
We were
else about
talking
the
about
episode we
this
talk about.
before
Yeah.
we started watching the episode or show. Whether the Somali's gonna make it, I
Uh
think she will. I think the Golem's just gonna die. I think
you think
watching this
so?
show now, I just think the Golem's gonna die. Like the end is the Golem dies, and Somali is given away to the humans, and like she has to find a way to cope with it. It's going to be like a bittersweet ending,
Okay.
right? They're gonna find the humans, but the Golem's going to die, and it's gonna develop enough emotion to understand that he was it was something special to this girl,
Uh-huh.
and
Do you
that's
think the golem's gonna die 1 year and 100 or so days from now in show?
I don't know. Now
Like, do
that
you
you've
think they're gonna
given me this
find a way to?
question, I
Do you think they're
think he
gonna
might
find a way
die
to beat that
earlier.
time frame?
I think he might die earlier, if
Oh, you think
anything.
they're gonna die earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, I was going the other way. I thought they were gonna find a way to beat the time frame.
Hmm.
That would be interesting if he has to die earlier.
Who knows?
See, because my thinking is like, there's been like the edges of like a magical thing going on.
Right. So at least the rule for golems is they live 1,000 years, full stop. At
Yeah,
the thousandth year, at the last day of that thousandth year, it dies, or the first day of that thousandth year, it dies. That's it.
yeah,
But it's actually currently looking for ways to live on. So in the Oni episode, we see that he's not only trying to create the medicine for Somali, but he wants to create medicine and find a way to keep himself living because he wants to make sure that she's protected for the entirety of their journey. And if their
yeah,
journey's not over, he wants to make sure that she's safe with other humans.
yes.
So
And so
yeah,
it's one of those things of like, given an exact time frame in a show, I'm always skeptical about it.
yes, I've actually
Of
been reading a manga that's with something similar.
oh, really?
Yeah, okay, I can get into it a little bit later, but yeah,
Okay.
they have a time frame because that really like narrows your not narrows your scope, but that basically puts a deadline on the story
Yeah,
on top of the deadlines you actually have to fill,
yeah,
which just makes it that much harder.
and like he's only given himself because like you want to make a deadline feel pressing, and
Yeah,
like especially if it's going to exist, you want it to be pressing from the beginning. And so giving like 1 year and 100 days or so is, like it feels like it should be a lot of time. It's a year and some days. Like you should be able to do something in a year and some days. And then you really start to think about like all of the days that you have to spend like traveling between places and doing things. Like they've already spent 2 days in the anthole colony. Like time sort of starts to add up until you get like a certain amount of into your, story, and the author suddenly realizes like, well, fuck, I've got like 2 months left before I have to kill this
right.
golem.
And
So
like
like
only
it's
halfway through the journey.
yeah, like I haven't told nearly any of the stories he wanted, like any of the stories he wanted to get through, and so you sort of have to find a way to create extra time, which is why I'm currently skeptical that the golem will die at 1 year and 100 days. I think he'll make it more than that. I don't think he'll make it forever. Like I don't think
Yeah.
they're gonna like recreate the golem and give him another 1,000 years, but I think they'll find him extra time.
Yes, the golem will die at the end of the story.
I think so, but I don't think the end of the story will be for a while.
Okay. I originally thought that this show was an original, but I'm seeing here on AnyChat that it is based off a manga. So
Yeah,
we'll see how long that goes and whether this will get a second season. It
I
is
looked it up earlier. It's a manga with only 5 volumes, but it is currently still being written.
okay, and 5 volumes is like I would say 2 volumes is about a season.
Yeah, 2 to 2.5
Yeah,
generally.
so we still got
So
another season and a fair bit left after that. So we'll see what happens. It is pretty
yeah,
popular right now on AnyChart. It's under the 1,000 upvote mark on Reddit.
hmm
But I guess it's up there.
yeah.
I don't know how popular it is in Japan, which is what really matters.
It's what really matters is yeah. Mostly it's how willing people are to spend the extra money for all the merchandise that comes with the
Yeah.
shows.
Although I don't think it's going to get a lot of merchandise. It just doesn't
I
lend
mean,
itself
honestly,
to much.
I don't feel like anything should have a lot of merchandise, and yet some things
Yeah, and
just
then it always
like
does for some reason.
yeah, like you see like how like profit breakdowns come, and like TV broadcasting rights are like maybe 1/5 of the pie, and then merchandise for all these random ass shows is like half of it.
Yeah,
It's it's
bizarre.
bizarre. I don't know what fucking merchandise shit is because this is just not a concept in America, but
Maybe like Blu-rays, unless that's like its own thing.
maybe. For some reason in my head, it's always been like those soccer supporter scarves
No. You
where
just
like
get
it
like
has like
the name of your manga or
yeah.
anime. I'd wear one.
I always just imagine Kaguya Love is War as like a soccer supporter scarf.
If one came in red, black, and white, I would wear it to DC United game
I absolutely would believe you would.
because that's also the colors of Kaguya. It makes
It
too much
is.
sense.
It does make a lot of sense.
I'll make a custom one. I'll see if I can make a custom one.
That would
But
be interesting.
we digress. That was
We
Somali. Currently, we're in part of the story where we're in the Athole city. It kind of left off at a oh my god, what's the word?
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger, where like this wolf-looking thing, I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
just beat the shit out of a mushroom because mushrooms eat people in this underground world, and he's currently eyeing up Somali like she's a
Somali.
good plate, so she
Yeah.
might get eaten next episode. Put into a nice
She might
stew.
get eaten. Probably won't.
Yes.
We're only 3 episodes in. It would be an interesting turn if in the 4th episode, one of our major characters got eaten by a wolf.
We're just gonna travel around with the little with the jackalope kid from after that.
Yeah. It's just gonna be it's gonna be the golem's journey to find a human civilization to bury Somali
Oh
in
my
after
god,
she dies.
no.
Yeah, no, I don't think that'll happen.
Ugh.
Really doubt that one.
But for the most part, I've been liking the show. It's been really fun.
It's been really chill.
Yeah, it's
Like
definitely
despite
really chill.
the overhanging like
Yeah, things
the
are gonna
golem
get
is gonna die
sad.
thing. Yeah. I found it really chill despite that. Like it's just them, hanging out, doing some
journeying.
things, having a dad-daughter relationship. They have some
It's-
sad moments and then they have some happy moments.
nice
And like
little
overall
anime.
it balances out.
Yeah. Oh, so I think that Oni from the second episode knew that the girl was a human.
I couldn't tell. You might be right.
Because he
I
said
couldn't really
something about
tell.
like, oh, that's not all the secrets he's keeping, and something about that, and I was like, I think he knows.
Yeah, maybe.
Just didn't care.
I did like how the second episode randomly turned into basically a cooking show for a minute.
Yeah. First you do this, and if you don't have that, then just kind of eyeball it, and then Golem's like, but that doesn't make any fucking sense, dude.
And then you want to peel this, root thing and then dry it. But we've already dried some here. Ta-da!
Oh my god, the fourth wall break caught me off guard.
That was pretty good.
Oh,
That was the moment where I was really like, oh my god, it's a cooking
yeah.
show.
Something that reminds me of the Golem is the Nathan Pyle Alien comics.
Oh, okay, yeah, I know what you
Right?
mean.
Because the Golem's always like, your actions make no sense, child.
Yeah.
This is erroneous
I have
behavior.
learned-
Stop it now.
I have learned this behavior from watching others. Hold my hand. By holding my hand, you are prevented from idiocy. But I have hindered myself by removing one of my hands from action abilities. We will have to account for this later.
I love the Golem. But yeah.
When he whipped out that eye, that was freaky.
Oh, that eye's so fucking cool.
All of a sudden, his face just snaps open.
That scene, he was a straight baller. He was like, yo, motherfucker, all your shit here is fake. That gold, fake. That diamond, glass. Here, give me my fucking money, or else I'm gonna destroy your business.
That was also one of those Nathan Powell comics. You understand the implication of these words that I've said, yes? I don't want to say the word blackmailing you, but we both know where I'm going with this.
That was a boss-ass move.
It was. It was very Eye of Sauron, though. Because he opens it up as just one green and black slit. And looking at it, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, you're the Eye of Sauron.
Yep.
And then when Somali gets lost, he's standing up on a tower looking for his one ring as he's like, I can survey the whole world from up here.
I see you.
Yeah. He's got a real Eye of Sauron thing going down. But, for being super dad, he really needs the ultimate eyesight to find Somali as she
Exactly.
almost gets eaten by a cat.
But yeah, that's Somali for you. What a
Yeah.
great little show. Very chill and very fun. It won't be relaxing when the Golem dies, though.
No,
It's
it will
going
get
to
sad at
tear
some
me
point.
apart.
Yeah. It's going to be real depressing somewhere near the end, probably. But, for now, it's a chill ride, and I'm digging it.
Yeah.
I'll cry when I cry, and that's that. Hopefully, I'll cry and then be rewarded with more chillness after the cry, but I probably
We'll
won't.
see.
We'll see.
So the manga that I mentioned earlier, about the number of days, the slated number of days, is Hyaku Machiken, I believe, which I think translates to 100 days, which is about this high school kid who has to take care of this little girl. This little girl is his parents' friend's daughter, and his parents and her parents just leave to go to the U.S. for 100 days on a
Solid.
vacation. So he just has to take care of her, and he's like, "Fuck, I don't know what to do. How do I take care of this child?"
What does it want from me?
That's basically half of the chapters is, "Child, what is it that you want?" And she's just crying. She just says, "I don't know."
Why are you crying? I don't know.
But it's a very fun. It's also really chill and just cute. They take care of a little bunny. Yeah, it's funny.
All right. Is that what you're selling out to today?
No.
Okay.
I completely
What are you
forgot
gonna
what I was
sell
gonna sell it to.
Oh, okay.
Actually, I don't think I've sold out to this yet. I'm gonna sell it to Mr. Robot. Have I sold out to this yet?
Maybe. I don't know.
Possibly,
Go
whatever.
for it, though.
This is a different season, so I'm gonna sell it to Mr. Robot season 4, which ended about 3 weeks ago. That shit was fucking awesome. I absolutely loved it. Season 4 was the best season of Mr. Robot. Everything has a payoff, and it pays off well.
All right.
Yeah.
Solid.
Well, not everything, but mostly everything has a payoff. It also has one of the episodes that just completely destroyed me. The same week we watched the Babylon episode where a girl gets hacked off.
Uh-huh.
It was not a good day.
Ah, okay. Well, I'm sorry that you had to experience 2 horrific episodes.
Yeah, I watched Babylon. I was like, oh god, I need to like wipe this away. And then I watched Mr. Robot, and I'm like, this made it worse.
So it was in no way better.
Oh man, but yeah, Mr. Robot, fucking amazing. It won no awards at the Emmys, but Emmys? No, not Emmys. Golden Globes. Joy Badass returns for a little bit. Young Ma
Solid.
is also in it for a little bit. Yeah, great show.
All right. Uh, let's see. What have I not sold out to that I want to sell out to? Oh, I
So that's the U.S.
will.
Constitution,
I
because we know no
don't
one's
know
doing
about that.
that.
I don't know about that. Oh, democracy was a mistake. I'm going to sell out to what do I want to sell out to? I need to make it something good and something that I haven't sold out to before, which is the complicated thing. Because I've sold out to a lot of garbage.
Yeah, so just a lot to trash in general.
Yeah, sure, fuck it. I'm gonna sell out to all of the trashy things in the world that I like. Trashy manga, trashy songs, trashy girls. Just in general. If you're trashy, live your life to the max.
Like, call me
Do what
up,
makes
Gold.
you happy.
Call me. Here's
Fucking
my number.
yeah, call me. Here's my number. Call me maybe. Yeah, just fucking do it to it. If you're making trashy manga and, enjoying life and doing something you enjoy, if you're making trashy songs but enjoy it, fucking don't let anybody tell you to do it otherwise.
There ain't nothing wrong with being a little trashy sometimes. It's in
Yeah,
everyone. What's
it's a
worse
good way to
is
make money.
pretending you're not trashy sometimes. Because you're fucking lying to me, you're fucking lying to yourself, you're fucking lying to everyone.
Yeah. I mean, there's some days where you just gotta take the L and fucking watch girls do mud wrestling. You know, I'm a warm-blooded man. That's just a fact about my life. I've never actually watched girls do mud wrestling. It's one of those like things that I always like hear in shows where I'm like, conceptually I understand it. In practicality, I've never actually watched this, and I don't know if like it would actually be good.
I mean, the real question is, do you want to be around a bunch of dudes with a bunch of boners?
That's just a strip club at that point.
That's true, and you've been to one of those.
Yeah.
Well, anyways.
It's only weird if you think too hard about it.
Ah,
It's sort of like watching a show that's really dumb. You just have to stop thinking. You just turn your brain off and don't think about it, and you're
exactly.
okay.
That's exactly what I do with Ancient Aliens.
Exactly.
Bring
Ancient
it full
aliens
circle.
equal to ancient aliens, two equal signs. Strip club evaluates to true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyways, thank you for listening to Anime Book Club,
Yeah.
episode 86. We didn't do introductions again.
We did not.
I was
It's
Brandon.
been a long time since we last did this, so I can understand why. I'm Nick.
Yep, and I was Brandon. Have a good day.
See you later. Thanks for coming back. I'm sorry we took a 3-week hiatus. It was my fault.
Uh,